Hello and welcome to episode 54 of Things I've Learned from Barry Harris. Today we're going to discuss Barry's feelings about something called the Bebop Scale. Now, Barry does not believe in what has later become known as the Bebop Scale, which is, just in case you don't know, is, let's say if we take a D7 scale. Well, let's just do dominant scale. What it is a dominant scale descending and putting a half step in between the tonic and the flat 7. So in this case, it would be between D and C, which is the C sharp. And the purpose of doing it is it makes it rhythmically correct. So now, people have seen that and have decided to label that a bebop scale. Barry is strongly against that, doesn't believe in it, and thinks it's leaving out a lot if you call it a bebop scale. And it's taught all over. It's taught in every school. It's taught. I mean, if you put into the YouTube search engine bebop scale, you're going to see a million videos about it. But what's interesting is Barry, being, in my opinion, the greatest teacher of the music, does not believe in it. And his reason for it is it's too limiting. He thinks that's just one of the many things you can do with a half step. So why would you label it a particular scale? For instance, the way that he thinks about it is he almost considers that a rhythmic placeholder. And yes, they do, a lot of the beboppers play a half step between tonic and 7 because that's a nice place to put it. But they also put a half step sometimes between 3 and 2 and 2 and 1 also, which would give you this scale. Now, should that scale have a separate name? I don't know, maybe. Now, what if you decided, since we've said that major 7, the C sharp, is just a rhythmic placeholder, we should be able to put that note anywhere and it will still come out right. So instead of this, let's say we take tonic and let's say we make the rhythmic placeholder the 2nd. So let's go up a note. So now that's our scale. So instead of this, now here's our scale. Let's see. Maybe we'll make it the 3rd. So now here's our scale. Also beautiful. And 4th and 5th and so on. You can do it all day. Maybe we'll go below it. Instead of playing this as the half step, maybe we'll play the 6th as the half step. So we'll make it this. Also beautiful. So if we use these in examples, let's say we're playing a D7 going to G major, and let's try to go down to the 3rd, and when we get to the 3rd, we'll come up a diminished. And then we'll end on the 5th of G major. But let's see, let's start. Beautiful. Now here's the half step between tonic and 7. I'll put on the 6th. Now I'll put the half step on the the 2nd of the D7. I'll put it on the 3rd. So you see, it's a rhythmic placeholder. Now if we start on the 2nd, we got no half steps. And again, this goes back to Barry's rules for his half steps. He came up with rules because in the same way that people discuss the bebop scale, he noticed a pattern that Charlie Parker seemed to put half steps in certain spots. But Barry just calls them half steps. He didn't label one specific one as the bebop scale. He just says it's a half step between tonic and 7. And I think the benefit of seeing it like that gives you a lot more options than just thinking of it as this one particular scale. For instance, if we started on the 3rd and we ran down, we could play. That's true. Now Now that would be the bebop scale, starting from the third, running down, putting in the half step. But like we said before, we could put the half step any place. So what if we did the one where we did, instead of the major 7, we made it the 6. Now we got this. Or one of Barry's, or well, let's do the second. That's a pretty phrase. Beautiful phrase. What if we started on the third and we did Barry's second rule, which is 3 half steps between third and second, second tonic and 7. So now you get this. Now what scale would you call that with 3 half steps? You wouldn't call it a scale. But do you see how all of a sudden the reasons for calling that a bebop scale start to crumble? So this is Barry's way of looking at it. And as far as I know, I don't know if Bird ever said bebop scale. I've never heard in a video or in a video of him, audio of him talking, did he ever mention the term bebop scale? I might be wrong, but the main reason is it's too limiting. So if you think about it, if you call this one half step just the bebop scale, think about all the other things that you're missing when you do that, when you're limiting yourself. And Barry's feeling about improvisation is you should never learn something that just limits you to one thing. It should be something that you can see endless possibilities in. And that's what his method of these half steps is, well, has been for me. And it's something to consider, because you're going to see the term bebop scale used all the time, and he doesn't believe in it at all. And since he's the only person I ever studied with, I don't believe in it either, and I've never had to, because once I found out about the bebop scale, or what other people refer to as the bebop scale, I thought to myself, well, that's just one half step. That's just one of the many rules. That if you know your rules, that's just one of the things that you can use. Why would I want to just limit myself to just that? But it's just a different way to look at it. And I hope as improvisers, you consider it. Just an interesting way to look at it. Anyway, I'll make this one short. Hopefully I'll make another one right after this. But I hope you enjoyed episode number 54, about why there's no such thing as a bebop scale. Thanks. Till next time.